Welcome to Onslow County today, and in Onslow County speak, July means Happy New Year. We are so glad to welcome you to this edition of Onslow County today, where we're going to be speaking with Battalion Chief Jeff Matthews about their heart care program at Onslow County EMS. We're also going to be speaking with Onslow County Manager Mr. David B. Cotton about the promise of the new year and what it offers for our community. And finally, we'll be talking with Rick Perry because it is summertime and it's time for fun. Thank you as always for joining us for Onslow County Today. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Battalion Chief Jeff Matthews with Onslow County EMS. Battalion Chief Matthews, we're so glad you're here today.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
So we're going to have a heart-to-heart,
yes, ma'am.
Battalion Chief Matthews, because we're going to talk about the wonderful heart care program that Onslow County EMS provides to our patients here in Onslow County. And we want to talk about several things. We want to talk about the protocols that you all put in place and why. We want to talk about the partnerships that you all have established with patient care facilities in our region. And then we want to provide some information, some general information to our viewers about what they want to be thinking about. Because as we always say, it just is seconds. Seconds make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
And so let's begin with the heart care program and why this is such a vital part of what you and everyone involved with EMS care here in Onslow County are focused on.
Okay, great. Since 2004, we've been treating heart attack patients in the field aggressively. And when I speak aggressively, we're trying to get them to the correct facility the first time. Onslow Memorial Hospital does a great job, but there's also other hospitals that it's a little bit further out called PCI centers or heart care centers that this heart attack patient needs to be at first and foremost. So what we did, we developed a plan working closely with Carolina East and New Hanover Regional Medical Center to get these patients directly from the field to their cardiac catheterization labs. Now, it was kind of challenging due to the fact that both hospitals are 2 counties away. So what we included into this plan was that once we identify the heart attack patient in the field, after they've called 911, is to put them on a helicopter and fly them directly to New Hanover. And now just recently we started flying patients to Carolina East.
Okay.
With that being said, they can get their treatment quicker, get into the catheterization lab quicker, and on an average, if everything goes according to plan, from the time that they call us to the time they're discharging home is less than 72 hours.
That's remarkable, 72 hours.
In 3 days, they go from the benchmark of having a heart attack to being back home sitting in their recliner enjoying their family time.
Now, when you talk about those first moments, the identifying, I would assume, would be your first. So when someone makes that initial call to 911,
right,
and dispatch is preparing to send an EMS vehicle, what are the steps? What is someone to expect? Because in that moment, when we are all have that panic and that concern, explain kind of what's happening.
Well, when we get on scene, even before we get on scene, there's a lot of wheels already moving behind the scenes, and sometimes we're calling for a helicopter to put them on standby. Sometimes we'll go ahead and notify the PCI center that they may be receiving this patient, ahead of time. So they go ahead and be ready for us. Especially on like nights, weekends, and holidays, we need to notify these hospitals sooner than they would regular Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, because we want to have the cardiologist, the catheterization team, and the radiologist waiting on us when we get there instead of us having to wait on them.
Right, right.
Once we go into the house and we identify the patient and we establish a rapport with the patient. We tell them exactly what's happening. You're having a heart attack. We need to get you to this facility as soon as we can. And then whether it's either ground transporting or put them on a helicopter, then we put the patient at ease. We start treating them in the field. We give them the medications that are appropriate at the time, and then we transfer the care to the air crew staff, and then they take them down to New Hanover and/or now recently over to Carolina East.
And everyone presents slightly different with a cardiac situation, don't they?
The typical chest pain, going to my left arm and stuff, it's still there. It still happens. But we've had them to where they only had some jaw pain. We've had them to where they just had shortness of breath. We've had them to where they just, my shoulder hurts, but I've been working in the garden a lot. And so everything is going to be a little different. Everybody knows their body and knows how they feel on a normal basis. And the only thing that we can ask is that if you know something is not normal and you know that you're going to need help, call 911. Don't wait until you call your doctor. Or don't wait to drive yourself to an emergency room. The pre-hospital care provider now is leaps and bounds among where it was 20 years ago, and even so close as 10 years ago. The things we can do in the field and things we're allowed to do in the field is almost equivalent to what an emergency department can do, with the exception of x-rays and sutures, so forth like that. We can establish what the patient is going on. We can sometimes even correct that illness that's going on with that patient, or go ahead and make a transport plan for that patient to get them to the correct facility the first time.
And I'm thinking about that person. It's summertime. Maybe I just need to sit down and catch my breath. But as you say, it's best, especially since you do know your own body, it's best to stop and call 911.
It is.
Not make any attempt to take yourself or to wait it out, or to call a family member and say, hey, do you mind driving me over?
Exactly.
Because you all can begin care.
Right then and there. And the great thing about our service to me it is a wonderful thing. We can go and we can evaluate a patient, and if they decide, we tell them, be honest, we don't find anything that we need to work on right this second. However, we may need to go and get you in to be evaluated. And there's sometimes we just can't talk that person into going, no matter what kind of presentation we make. If we don't do any type of ALS interventions on scene, there's no charge for these people, because a lot of people, especially our geriatric retired population here in the county, are worried about their funding. They're worried about their insurance. Well, we can go and do a lot of things. We can do the EKG, we can do the 12 lead, we can do a blood sugar check, we can do blood pressure checks. And as long as no intervention is done, there's no charge. We shake their hands, we tell them to have a good day, and if they need us, please call us back.
And it's the fact that they know that Onslow County EMS is there.
Yes, ma'am.
That they know they're there. Well, beyond the fact that you all have created these protocols in the last several years and created these partnerships with New Hanover County and with Vidant,
Yes, ma'am.
You have also been recognized for this program. Tell us a little bit, if you will, about the national recognition that you all have received.
Right. The American Heart Association has another entity within inside of it called Mission Lifeline, and Mission Lifeline is a great resource gathering website that can be utilized not only by the pre-hospital care provider, but by the hospital care provider and the general public. They have information on there to know the signs and symptoms of a heart attack. They have information on there to what to do if you get too hot, what to do if you need to, seek medical attention. For the second year in a row, we've been recognized at a gold level. And what that means, we have met their standards for 2 years in a row to identify the correct patient, give our correct interventions, and transport this individual to the correct facility in 90 minutes or less, whether by ground or taking the time to put them on a helicopter and fly them to that facility. And that says leaps and bounds for the field staff that we have today and stuff. They buy into the program, they believe into the program, and they see the returns on it. And sometimes the simple returns can be, if we have a patient come back in and just want to shake our hands
Yeah.
and just say, thank you for giving me another birthday, thank you for giving me another Christmas, and we've had those several times, and that's the reward, that's the payoff for it, is when we have someone come back and just say thank you.
That is remarkable in that kind of feedback is really, national awards are of course wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's that person to person.
That is the ultimate feedback. That is the ultimate gratification of not only a job well done, but we've helped this person to enjoy time with their family, to enjoy time with another Christmas, or just to enjoy life in general.
Battalion Chief Matthews, when you talk about that connection with the community, talk, if you will, just a little bit about your crews and what they mean to the community and what they mean to you.
I can't put a dollar sign. I can't show them how much I appreciate them. Our crews are some of the best in the state, and I would put some of our paramedics up against any other paramedics in the state. All of our staff is highly trained. They're highly educated. We have several staff members that have multiple degrees, all the way from bachelor's. We even have a few have master's degrees, and they're awesome. But what works hand in hand is that we can build these programs, we can roll these programs out, but then we listen to our staff to say, hey, okay, this is working, this isn't working, we need to touch this, we need to redo this, and it's working together. But listening to the crews, getting the input from them, showing the respect to them, and then them giving us the feedback is the best way to make programs like this work.
And it's always about reflection and being better and better and better, isn't it?
It is. It really is. We always challenge ourselves. We always bring new ideas. We bring people from all over the state and the nation to come in and help educate us. Just as short as 2 years ago, we had a nationally renowned speaker come in, and we reserved an area over at the government center, and we had people from all over the state come in and listen to him speak. And he's been doing cardiology, he's been doing pre-hospital medicine for over 30 years. And we were very fortunate to get him to come in and work with our staff. We have cardiologists come in, we have other physicians come in and do online training, or do training at facilities with our staff, and they thoroughly enjoy it. They thoroughly enjoy the challenge, because there's a lot of times that even though we go to school and what the textbook says, this is how a patient should look, this is how a patient should be, not all patients read the same textbook. So we have to adapt and overcome and change just at a moment's notice to adequately treat and transport this patient.
Just listening to you speak, and we've had the opportunity to work together on,
Yes, ma'am.
on other projects, just listening to that passion and compassion for what you do and for what your team does obviously translates to providing the best possible care for Onslow County.
Yes, ma'am.
And we want to thank you for that service that you all provide.
Thank you.
Now, we also want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Because this time of year, we are all very concerned. It's 90 degrees, it's 100 degrees, and when it's humid, it's 110 degrees.
Exactly.
And we all still want to get out there. We still want to go to the beach. We want to work in our gardens, like you mentioned earlier. And so we want to talk also about the dangers of heat a little bit, because it too is sneaky. And it presents very differently in each person. So if you will, for just a little bit, Battalion Chief Matthews, share with us some things that we need to be mindful of.
Heat emergencies are extremely dangerous, and yes, they can kill you, and we don't want that to happen. The worst thing about the heat emergency and recognizing it is that humans are creatures of habit. We're going to do the same thing. We don't want anything to change our norm. So if you're a construction worker and you say you've been doing this for 15 years, you're going to continue and continue and continue and say, I'll be fine. And then you say, oh, well, I feel a little lightheaded, or I don't feel right. Or even if you just go to the beach, You can sit out there all day on the beach and become dehydrated and never realize that. So you need to take care of yourself. There's an acronym that's called Beat the Heat. It's hydrate, educate yourself, act quickly, and then just take it easy. And to hydrate is nothing more than drinking your water. Stay away from your carbonated drinks. Stay away from your energy drinks. And for the ones who are probably going to force their opinion to me, stay away from your coffee.
Right.
Limit your coffee intake, limit your caffeine intake. Drink your water. If you do drink the sports drinks, i.e. like the Gatorade or anyone that's supposed to replenishes it, do that in moderation. Don't sit and just drink that. You need to mix it up with your water. Educate yourself. There's so much data available now through the internet, through the library, where you can go and see what you need to do as far as taking care of yourself. If you're, especially if you're working out in the heat all the time, like we are, we set up rehabilitation systems whenever our crews are out working for long periods of time, or even this time of year, worst case scenario, when a house fire, and we have the firefighters in their turnout gear. We set up rehab points to where they must come in. We'll evaluate them, and then we make the determination where they can go back in, continue, or if they're just done for this operation. Act quickly. If you feel like someone's got too hot, or if you look at someone and tell that they're too hot, get them out of the heat. Don't immediately throw an ice pack at them, but just get them out of the heat. Sit them in a shaded area, give them some water, and make sure that you call 911, because we need to come and evaluate them, and we need to do everything we can to transport them and get those patients to the emergency room. And the last but not least is that take it easy part. Just take it easy, slow down. Especially in this state, we have high temperatures and we have high humidity, but we still have people who must do their jobs in the construction field, Department of Transportation out on the roadways, and including the first responders who are out there constantly, whether it's law enforcement, us, or the firefighters. Just take it easy. Do the best you can. If you need to take a break, take a break. Taking a 5-minute break is not going to end the world when you need to slow down yourself. It won't stop everything.
So it's about mindfulness, and some people talk about the difference between heat stroke and heat stress. Bottom line,
if you get too hot, stop.
If you get too hot, stop.
Call 911, let us come evaluate you, and just take it easy.
Well, Battalion Chief Matthews, this is wonderful advice that you've given us, something that we can all use, from our kids who are just outside playing, or sporting events, or as you say, those who have to work in the heat. And then about our elderly who may be at home, but who we might want to check on as well.
We need to check on them constantly. Our geriatric population is growing in this county, and a lot of them are on that fixed income. And I know the county has a great
the FAN program.
The FAN program,
absolutely,
to where they can get out. But that can only be great to those people if they know about them. So check on your neighbors. If you know you have someone living next to you who might be a retiree living on that fixed income, go check on them, see how they're doing, make sure that they have everything they need and stuff. A $20 fan for someone might mean the world. You don't ever know. Just check on your neighbor. Check on your family member. Once again, if you need us, please call us.
Well, we really appreciate you and appreciate knowing that you are just a phone call away.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, congratulations
Thank
on your recognition for your heart care program, and we thank you for being there for us in our time of need.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and we are so pleased to welcome as our guest Mr. David Cotton, Onslow County Manager. Mr. Cotton, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is July, and for Onslow County that means the new year, and we would like to talk for a little bit about the New Year process. What does the New Year mean? Sort of your New Year message, if you will. And then we want to talk a little bit more about the long term, so beginning with the new year, and then kind of how Onslow County plans beyond just a fiscal year. So if you don't mind sharing with us a little bit about what 17-18 looks like for Onslow County.
Okay, great. With this new board coming in, they were very clear in their direction with the goals and objectives they provided staff in developing the 17-18 budget. And as part of that, it was being open and transparent and really pushing that envelope. Not to suggest that we haven't been. We've received an A grade from the John Locke Foundation. So looking for ways to improve that. And one of the ideas that I had speaking with staff and pitched it to the commissioners, and they have agreed with, is developing internal committees to take a look at different topics. Everything from customer service, which is a seated committee that is currently underway. Mm-hmm. We are going to look at our external messaging, how we communicate with the public, not only through our media partners, but how we can directly reach those who we serve. And then we also have internal clients and how we can best serve them. Mm-hmm. And if it is a public record, we don't want it just to be available. We want to make it easy for the public, staff, other governmental entities to find it. So that's really just reinforcing that pledge and moving forward with it. Beyond that, we are just coming out of a quadrennial planning cycle. Right. It was the first ever that Onslow County undertook, and it coincided with our reevaluation cycle. I am proposing to the commissioners that we take a look at implementing another quadrennial planning cycle. And the advantages to that are not just internal to the organization, but to the public as a whole, especially lining up with our reevaluation cycle. The pitch is that we will project out for 4 years, which I know is a daunting task, but we really have a talented staff, and they just proved that we can do it. So what we would do is we would project out those 4 years in needs and propose a tax rate, again coinciding with our revaluation cycle, and ideally, barring any unforeseen action at the state or federal level, we could, with relative certainty, set a tax rate for 4 years and not have to come back to the commissioners directly and indirectly to the taxpayers. So they would have that known of, this is going to be my tax rate for the next 4 years.
You know, when we think about that 4-year cycle, and I know you said it seems like a daunting task, but in this last 4-year cycle, we've seen some tremendous projects take place that have worked for the benefit of the community, and it was due to that very intensive planning and projection process. Talk a little bit about how we've come out of that 4-year cycle and the things, those tangibles that you've seen.
Right. It really started with previous boards of commissioners mm-hmm. to have the foresight to establish a debt capacity model where we can afford to do these projects without impacting our operating budget. So there is a set aside amount that is dedicated to funding that debt capacity model that allows us that flexibility and that long-term planning. And when you can separate out long-term capital needs with ongoing operational and shorter-term capital, that really lends itself to line up to more stability, mm-hmm. And again that flexibility piece. I really like the flexibility that's built into that capacity model, our operating budget. Certainly coming out of our first 4-year quadrennial, we have lessons learned, mm-hmm. What we did well, what we can improve on, and we would apply those going forward.
And when we think about that idea of long-range planning, it's ultimately about what you mentioned earlier, that provision of customer service, mm-hmm. Providing the best possible venues, providing the best possible facilities, so that ultimately Onslow County can provide the best services for our citizens.
Right.
Now, when we were talking off camera, you were part of that 4-year process, and we were both a little bit astounded because we said, it's been 6 years, sir, since you actually came on board
It has
with
been.
Onslow County.
Yeah.
And in the last month, we have been very fortunate to learn that you are now officially, after serving for 6 months as interim county manager, our new county manager.
Yes.
And we also wanted to take some time today to talk a little bit about that role, what that means to you, and your own personal, really kind of philosophy about county management and what you foresee for the future for the county.
Okay, great. Well, first and foremost, it's anytime someone is appointed as county or city manager, it truly is a humbling experience, because you have the elected body who has the trust and confidence of the citizens, that you're the person that they want to lead the organization. And I take that responsibility very seriously. I remember starting out this career. When I was interning, I still wasn't sure if this was the career for me, and I still remember the very day that I decided this is what I wanted to do. And now it's been 20 years, and I still remember the first day on the job when I became town manager at Lake Waccamaw. I was so focused on getting the job. I distinctly remember sitting down at my desk and thinking, now what do I do? I was so focused on getting that first job, and of course you fall right into it and you figure out what to do next. But for Onslow County, it's like I said, I've been here 6 years. It's a well-run organization. It was before I got here. It'll be long after I'm no longer here. So really no big changes. There are some minor changes that we'll see along the way. Primarily the committees. I really want those that we're going to ask to implement the policies, provide the services, to have a voice at developing those policies and how we deliver those services. That's really important, and that's a lesson I've learned throughout my career, is get that buy-in from, again, those you're going to ask to be on the front lines for you.
And speaking of your career, you've served in a variety of different locations, communities across our state. As you said, you started in Lake Waccamaw.
Yep.
You've also served in the mountains of North Carolina and kind of the foothills, Sand Hills area, and now back to the coast. What is it about Onslow County that you would share with our viewers that makes it its own distinct place within our state?
Well, I think my decision to have stayed here as long as I have, and this is the longest term that I've spent with any one organization since going into local government. What drew me originally was that military component, being a veteran,
Yes,
being a military community. That was the initial draw, and then that was reinforced, and then it's really the diversity that is within our community and the welcomeness. Everyone is so accommodating and so welcoming to everyone, and especially me. It's a transient population, but there are folks who were born and raised here, who are just as happy to have you be a part of the community as the person that arrived on the train with you. So that's another component. Certainly the beaches, and just the pace that we're growing. There are a lot of things going on in this community, positive challenges, and that's what keeps you engaged. That's what really keeps you around as a local government manager.
Well, excellent. Well, as we launch into 17-18, and actually we want to point out this is our 17th year of Onslow County today,
Yes.
so we always like to kick off this time of year with that message. What is it that you would share with our citizens and with your team, kind of that let's look forward to when we're thinking about 17-18?
I would say let's look forward to making Onslow County, even better. And I don't mean that as a colloquialism,
No,
but
no.
This is a great place, and it will only remain great if we engage together and if we are part of what moves us to the future, because it's coming whether we want it or not. And I would rather have a seat at that table, designing and dictating our destiny, rather than having it, forced upon us. So,
Well, that's excellent. Mr. Cotton, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your leadership, and we are looking forward to this coming year, sir.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It's summertime in Onslow County, and that means it's time to invite Rick Perry to share with us all of the fun things that are going on with Onslow County Park and Recreation. Rick, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here again.
Now, Rick, we know that it just means fun, fun, fun in the summertime when you're here, because you have all kinds of festivals to share with us and activities going on at the parks and the beach. So we have to kick off things first with the 34th annual Freedom Festival. Tell us about what's going to go on this year.
As you had mentioned, the 34th year of providing the Freedom Festival is always held on July 4th at Onslow Pines Park. Just a great family event. Activities kick off at 2 p.m., last till 9, culminating with the fireworks show, which so many folks are familiar with and look forward to. Just a great cap to the evening. But before that time, there's lots of entertainment, vendors, food vendors, craft vendors, fun things for kids to do. And even more than that, it's just an opportunity to come out as a family and come early. We'd encourage folks to obviously come early and park a little closer, but enjoy your day. And there's lots of shade available, pine tree areas where families who've come for years will lay out their blankets. And on this particular day, you can bring charcoal grills to certain areas or use the ones that we already have in the park. Have your family cook out, enjoy tennis or basketball, some activities in the park. And just then participate in the activities, see our vendors, have kids ride rides, get on those inflatables, and then enjoy all the bands. There's 2 sets of stages, the stage in the Pines where we'll have some local entertainment, and then the feature group, the feature band. And again, this year, they've been here before, but we're bringing back the Embers, very popular and well known in our area, on the main stage, and they'll basically play from 5 until right at 9 o'clock when it's time for fireworks.
This is a homegrown group. There are people who hold dear memories of the Embers for 30, 40 years, and the band has continued to evolve and be so much a part of the Carolina beach music sound that they're a huge draw and just a real tradition in our community. So it's awesome that you all have them. I always have to point out, Rick, that admission to the Freedom Festival is what?
Free. Can't beat that price.
You can't beat that price to come and hear the Embers and see awesome fireworks. I mean, you guys always put on a great show, and it's always so enjoyable, as well as the fact that people can just enjoy themselves that day at the park with their friends and family. So you've got Freedom Festival, of course, and I love your key point: arrive early, park close, and bring drinks, but you also have food vendors there, but people can bring picnic baskets as well.
That's right.
Okay. Any restrictions on what they can't bring?
Right. It's an alcohol-free event, and just because it's just not good for pets, we want to keep, if you keep the pets at home for this particular event, with that number of people and then the noise with fireworks, really not good for dogs. So if folks would help us with that. And that's just a recent change the last few years, but it can become an issue with safety, both for the dogs and for people attending the event.
Okay.
And I should also mention that it's such a group effort with the help of the Onslow County Sheriff's Department, of various EMS groups, but Halls Run Rescue, and the numbers who have helped us for years to make it a safe event, to help with the parking issues, and whether it be, and also the Highway Patrol or Department of Transportation. So many partners in making an event this large go off smoothly every year.
And and asking patrons to arrive early and just be patient. When it's time to leave, when the last big firework goes off, it's okay to hang around a minute and just take your time and be patient as it's time to exit.
That's right. Onslow Pines Road is a two-lane country road between highways 53 and 17, so we'll take a minute. Lots of folks have attended football games at colleges or pros. You just be patient. We'll get you out of there and have staff on hand trying to direct traffic.
Excellent. Now you also have another festival going on this summer, and this is your 3rd annual Polynesian Festival, which is really such a cool idea. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Thank you. It's July 21st and 22nd, which the 21st being a Friday, and those activities start at noon and run to roughly 9 p.m. It really features, it's all about the Polynesian culture, the Polynesian islands, and featuring that theme from the foods to the dancing, numbers, the music, just a lot going on, and that's in the main stage area, most of the entertainment, and obviously the Polynesian food, and then the other typical festival things folks look for, entertainment, would it be vendors, craft vendors, inflatables, rides for kids, a little bit of everything, but always featuring the culture, the Polynesian culture. And it's been a big hit and well attended, and it's not been around as long as Freedom Festival, but we hope one day to say it gets to 30 or 40 years too.
Absolutely, and you've really had a real groundswell of support from the Polynesian community that's right here in Onslow County, haven't you?
We do. They're really instrumental and active in first bringing the idea to us, letting us know, hey, there's only a few of these around the nation, and there's not a feature one in North Carolina, so we could get on in the ground floor, and it's been something that was even featured last year. PBS's program, North Carolina Weekend, came
sure
down,
was.
and lots of folks have probably heard of Rick Sullivan, who's a correspondent with that program for years, was a sports guy for Channel 5 out of Raleigh,
Right.
but they come down and did a great job and featured that event, and that's always great. But and this was because it's cultural, it's new, it's a little bit different than maybe what else might be offered around the state.
Excellent. And of course, in between all the festivals, you've got plenty to offer in the way of programs for kids and just beautiful sites for us to go and hang out and be with our families. So talk a little bit about what you're doing for kids this summer.
That's right. Everything doesn't have to be a scheduled program. That's what parks are for, basically speaking, is come out on their time to enjoy when parks are open. And generally speaking, that's after 8 a.m. on a weekday, you'll find park gates open where there are gates, or on a weekend after 10. But if you want to schedule a rental of a picnic shelter through our department, we can be contacted. Also, you can check the website or call us at our office, and that number is 347-5332 for Onslow County Parks and Rec. And we can talk to you about facilities we have that are available to be rented. Or if you just want to visit a park and utilize some equipment, we have access to some of the park's tennis rackets, basketballs, if you didn't bring your own. But we do lots of picnic shelter reservations for family reunions, birthday parties. It's just an affordable option for folks outside of some of the normal things you might do commercially. So keep us in mind if they would like to take advantage. But otherwise, just come out to a park, and it's kayak access to the New River, several locations. Really nice one off of Blue Creek that has the fiberglass launch made for that purpose. And the creek you won't have to worry about too much boat traffic, but it's still wide enough to do good paddling for a beginner especially. You can access paddling at the beach, across from Beach Access number 2, which is as you head to Surf City. And mentioning the beach, this time of year is super busy with the beaches, and we're fortunate enough here to have county-maintained beach access sites that have their restrooms and showers. And again, we mentioned free earlier. You can park at these sites for free, which is not the case lots of places in North Carolina and nationwide.
Exactly. That's such, our beaches are such a draw for our tourism community, and just people who say, I grew up going to Topsail Island, going to Surf City, and having the access to those public beach accesses with those fine facilities that you all maintain, and your team is always there, always making sure that it's the best possible experience for our visitors and for our residents. And finally, you've got lots going on. We know that your summer camps fill up quickly, but you've also got some other classes and workshops and things that you can share with us.
That's right, and more things will be coming. Always check the website, but there's swim lessons being offered. Sessions are in July, and then some carry from late July to early August. Again, if you were to call the office or check the website, which is onslowcountync.gov/parks.
Right.
You can find us there and check for anything we may have listed or upcoming lessons throughout the year. It could be anything from surfing to tennis, golf at various times of the year. You can look for those lessons, but swimming should be up during July, and as long as there's openings available, and you can call and find that out as well.
Excellent. And finally, you've had a little bit of change in staffing, so you have some new team members that you welcome for this summer. And boy, they have hit the ground running. Rick, didn't you want to kind of acknowledge these two new folks and all the hard work that they've already put in to get ready for this summer?
Absolutely. Anna Stanley joined our staff just a few months ago, is heading up programs and special events. And just the last couple of weeks, Jason McCrae joined our staff as our new athletic director. Came to us by way of High Point. So we think both are doing a great job and look forward to continue to provide our same level of service to our citizens.
Excellent. Well, Rick Perry, it is always fun to talk with you, and always, it encouraging. Wants us to get outside. You want us to get out and experience the beauty and the great parks and beach accesses and all the activities. So thank you again. One more time, let's give folks your telephone number and website just so we can make sure that they get all that great information.
Telephone number is 910-347-5332. And the website is www.onslowcountync.gov/parks.
Rick Perry, as always, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
As always, we want to thank you for joining us for Onslow County Today, and a special thank you to our guest, Battalion Chief Jeff Matthews from Onslow County EMS, Mr. David Cotton, Onslow County Manager, and Rick Perry with Onslow County Park and Recreation. There is so much to do this summer in Onslow County. Festivals, the beach. Certainly you want to check out the Freedom Festival and Poly Festival and Earth and Surf Festival. So much to get out and do. And of course, explore your Onslow County today.